this is what's really cool that I like about it, is that not only can you use your voice to do that, I have my app that I can use to control it, and I can also set up things like um, different schedules or automation, so I can have it even attached to geofencing. All right, so here we are in the den right now, and you can see that these current blinds that I have the strings on one side to raise it up and lower it, and then on the other side I have the little twisty rod to change the angle of them. They're not terrible blinds, but they don't fully block the light even when they're closed down. You can get light beside them, of course, and even light between them, especially when it's going down really low, and that's really big of a pain with the TV right there beside it. So they also don't match the ones right beside them. So that's something else that this is going to change, is getting all the blinds to match and allow us to also control them, which is really handy because you might want to control them by voice, or you might want to change them by time of day or even weather. All that kind of stuff you can set up with your Smarthings. So hey everyone, this is Nate, and this is the Nader Tater channel. Alright, here are my blinds that just got in the mail. I've opened up one of them to show you what it is, but I'll go through how I set these up, how I measured them to get them to fit, and actually that's a quite easy process. Ordering them and then getting them, I'll install them here on the video for you to show you how easy it is, and then I'll show you how I actually connect them to, for me personally, it's my smart home that I have with Home Assistant, but this works on many different systems, or even if you want to just use a remote that they also provide. And so I'll go through all those different steps and what I think about them as far as how they perform. Now, these are not my first smart blinds I've had. In fact, I've had some other smart blinds I've installed. I put them in the bedrooms and I liked them so much. I was like, I really need to get some more smart blinds. So these ones are going to go in my den. And obviously in the den you have a TV, and we have two windows beside the TV that, especially in the summertime, the sunlight can get overbearing. So we wanted something that can really black out that sun so you can watch the TV without straining your eyes. So what I'm going to show you here, this is actually a cellular blind. So you can see here it's all squished, so it's fully compact, but this will just extend down. And it has a motor inside of here that spins to do that. And so for the installation, it's these little clips that is kind of a standard blind clip. You can screw this either to the inside top of the window trim or outside of the window as well if you wanted to. And then when you take the blind, you just slide it in there and snap it in place, and then it clips into place. So what I really like about the cellular blinds is you can see that the coverage inside is 100%. My roller blinds up in the bedroom is a little bit of a downside to them because the shade material itself is slightly inset from the mounting that you have to do, so you get a little bit more of a gap between the blind and the window frame. So that's why I really like the cellular. The other thing about cellular is that it is actually a little bit more energy efficient because it gives you that that kind of volume of air in between the inside of the house and that window. So it's a little bit more of an insulation factor as well that I really like with it. Now with the blinds, it also comes with a power cable. This is just a standard USB-A to USB-C connection. That's something that you can plug in to the battery here. This is the battery. So for these blinds themselves, they have this battery that you can completely hide it. It is a clip-on, but for most windows you will never see this. It goes on the outside of the bracket. So this one here would be, if we're looking at this side, it's on the outside of the window. That just clips on into here, and then you snap these down here, and now it's going to hang on to the back side of that blind, and it's inside that window still. And so like I said, most of the time I've checked it with mine already, there's plenty of space to actually have this hidden back here. And now additionally on this one, I did get the solar panel. So this is a solar panel that has two double-sided sticky tape that I just stick on the window right behind this guy so that it's hidden out of sight from inside the house. And now I should never have to actually charge this up. But if you don't have the solar panel, which is optional, expect to charge it up about once every 6 months. So twice a year you will have to plug it in, and there is just a standard little USB port on the back of this battery here that can get plugged in. This side is the cable that gets plugged into it. A USB-C port right here that you can plug in. So you can take this off to plug it in if you want to, or you can just run a cable up to it from a nearby power outlet. So the only other thing that they have here in the little box is a screw or anchoring kit. So this is obviously just to screw these anchors in. So honestly, these things are really easy to install. I know they have salesmen that go around for just blinds in general to come measure your house and install them. It is not a hard task to do at all. I'll show you how easy it is. It typically takes me maybe 5 minutes per blind to actually install, at least with these small light ones. I do have some longer ones here that are a little bit bigger, but it does not take long. All right, so these are Smartwings brand, and so they are one of the more well-known ones, at least for me. I've seen a lot of reviews or ads for them on like Facebook and whatnot. So they were a well-known brand that I trusted and I wanted to go with to actually put in the house as well. So let me go to their website real fast and just show you what type of offerings they offer. Alright, so here is their website, is smartwingshome.com, and this covers all of their products that they have out there. Now, I must say, before we get too far, do hit that like button on the video, and consider subscribing to my channel to get more content that I do produce. Everything from 5G home internet to smart home devices and Wi-Fi, and lots of other activities that I do around my property. So, for Smartwings itself, you can see here that they have a lot of different options here. I can kind of scroll through here. They have the roller shades, the cellular shades that we have. They call them zebra shades, which have like alternating light and dark sections that you can adjust. The dual shade was kind of cool, so it both has a light filtering and more of a blackout one, so it gives you the option there of having both types of shades. You have woven wooden shades. They even offer outdoor shades as well. Now, what's really cool about them, I think, is that they are like UL certified. They're all, whatever you want to call it, legit things. They have no lead, and they also do focus on some environmentally free stuff as far as reduce, recycle, and reuse when they actually make their products. So that's kind of cool. And then they have support for all different types of smart homes. I don't know of one that they do not support. And so I can understand that might be overwhelming to you if you're like, I don't really know what I want to do here. Or you can use just Google. If you have something like a Google display or an Alexa display, something like that, you can actually use that to connect to it. They make that very simple. But I will say that they have lots of options out there to really fit any of them, including if you are lucky enough, I wish I was, to have hardwired connections at your windows with either 12 volt DC or 110 AC. They actually support all of that as well. So you should be able to find a blind that you like from this company. They support the new Matter over Thread, which is looking like that might be kind of the new future standard out there for wireless smart home devices. And then here, this is where I was talking about how they have lots of different options for the motor. Now you do have to pick which one you do want, but it can be either a Matter over Thread, Alexa, standard, which would be like the remote control, and then Z-Wave is another option there as well. So if you have any questions about that, you can certainly put a comment below. I can try to help. You can also just reach out to Smart Wings themselves and tell them how you want to use it. They can help you pick the right motor for your specific type of use as well. Alright, and then you have to determine the mount type. Are you going inside the window frame or are you going outside it? For me, I'm going inside. So all I did was take a tape measure and I measured at the top of the window, left to right, how wide it was. And you do want to be accurate with that, so to like 1/8 of an inch or so. And then you measure the middle and at the bottom, and just in case your window is not perfectly square, you want to pick whichever dimension is the smallest for going on the inside, because it needs to fit inside that that area. And then of course you need the length of it as well, however tall that window is. That one's not as important to be perfectly precise on. You want to just make sure you have enough material to get all the way down to the bottom. So then you'll pick your motor type. This is what we talked about before. You can add your solar panel, and then you can add, if you want a remote. You do need a remote for the initial setup. So for me, with these 4 blinds, I need to have at least one remote so I can do some of the initial setup. And then here you can add a room label. So if you have very specific ones, you can call them out right here. And when you get the blind, I think it has it on here. Yep, right here on this backside. I did not add a room label for this one, but if I did, they would have labeled it You know, if it was a specific window I wanted to go to, it would have a label here. But they also, it is really nice that they have the sticker because it tells you what the size is. It tells you what type of motor. You can see I have a Z-Wave motor, and then it tells you what the fabric color is, and then also the remote control. It tells you that when you order them, they typically already pair up the remote, and so this one tells me that it is channel 3 on the remote, so I can already know exactly what channel my blind is on already. Okay, and then if you need more details or instructions, they do have some guides here that help you measure, but it's basically what I already told you. So let's go and install these and see how they function and see how they work. Let me just go ahead and get them installed and then show you how they perform. All right, so taking blinds down is normally pretty easy. These ones have a little flip cover on either side that I flip out. So let me go ahead and retract them all the way. And then this just comes out here. And now I have two little brackets that have to get removed with a couple screws. All right, so now I already have my battery connected to it, and then this guy, I just get set up here. Let me go straight in, push in the front, and then there we go. And it's lined up, and you have to adjust it. You can do that, but now it's basically ready to operate. All right, so in one of the boxes will come a instruction guide, so do check all your boxes. Inside this, it comes with several of these pamphlets, and each one is for a couple different things. One I have, for me, it's Z-Wave programming guide. I have a quick installation guide, which is how you actually screw it to the window. It has some good tips in there. And then there's the remote programming guide. Now, at least for me, and I think this is for everyone, if you order them as a kit, then the remote typically will come programmed already from the factory. But if you're adding more blinds or whatnot, you might have to reprogram them. And there's a quick start guide as well for the solar panel, which has some good tips. You know, one thing to note, this is a casement window that swings open. So I want the wire to be on the hinge side so that the wire doesn't get extended if I try to open it. These I don't actually typically open, so it's not a big deal, but something to keep in mind before you put the solar panel on is where do you have the wire so that it doesn't get stretched out when you open the window up. All right, so here's the remote. Now on this one, it has lights on the top, and that indicates which number. I know this blind was number 3, so I went to the third LED with these side arrows. Then I can hit down on it, and it will go ahead and go all the way down to the bottom. Now, I might need to program it to stop at the correct place. So that's where this programming guide comes in handy. But what I really like about this cellular shade here is you can see how tight it is to each side of the window. And then this is a blackout one. So this is going to do a really great job of blocking all the light. And you saw how quiet and easy it was to go up and down. So now I want to add it to my smart home setup, which is through Home Assistant. So I'm going to go into the pairing mode on my smart home. And then in here, it tells you that there are some buttons you can press on the remote or alternatively on the unit itself to put it in the pairing mode. And then I can add it to my smart home setup. All right, so now I have the back of the remote off per the instructions, and then I'm in my Home Assistant thing. I'm going to go ahead and tell it to start doing the inclusion. All right, so my inclusion is running. Now, per these instructions, I need to press and hold this P button. And then I press the up button. And then I press the P button again. And now that says it's going to be activating the inclusion mode. And sure enough, I got it to include, and it's going to do S2, which is good. So now it's asking for a DSK pin. Now we'll see if that is, I think, on actually the bottom of this blind here. Looks like it is. So it's in bold font there on the bottom on the sticker. All right, so it looks like it's gathering that information for Home Assistant. It does take a little bit of time to pull the device, get all the information, but I can see it starting to fill it out with being a smart curtain motor. So we'll let it do its thing. We'll add all 4 of these blinds to see how they do. All right, so now we have all of the blinds put in. Now you can see here we have 2 different types of blinds as far as the light filtering back behind me, which is along each side of the fireplace, and the blackout ones beside the TV. So I intentionally did this for a couple of reasons. One is it is really nice to have the light filtering down. It does take away the direct sunlight and glare, but it still allows a lot of light into the room so that you don't need the lights on during the day, but you can keep direct sunlight out of you. It does help still with keeping the house cooler because it does block much of that UV rays. But I think it's something like 70% light filtering they say out, so 30% in, at least is what they say. If you can barely tell up here, you can see a little bit of the outline of the solar panel that I have in there. But then if you look on these blackout ones, you can see they are fully blacked out. They do a great job. There is no light bleed on the actual material itself. You get a little bit of bleeding on either side, but I took the casement crank off the bottom, and I didn't even have to pull the blind too far out to still clear that. So I was really happy I was able to keep it all flush, and I think it looks really clean. There is a couple tricks here I want to talk to you about that I had to do with it. I'll show you them operating here in a second as well. But I just want to show you real fast. You can see a little bit of an antenna sticking out right up there. And that was actually, these ones are Z-Wave antennas. So these have the Z-Wave module in them. And the antenna by default is just glued down. I did have to pop it out and stick it out because I was getting problems with the signal. Now, depending on your house, you might not have that problem, but if you are having trouble getting them to pair or connect, I would definitely recommend popping the antenna out and having it come outside of the actual blind itself. So I have the Z-Wave ones, but they offer the Wi-Fi, the zigbee, and then also there's the remote itself that works as well. And the remote can actually control all of them together as a pair, as a group. But what I'm going to show you here now is actually my integration with Home Assistant, which is my smart home controller. All right, so if you have any smart speakers in your house, you can actually use voice command. So I can do something like this: open the den blinds. And now what you can see here is they are all opening. They're not 100% linked up. That will depend on your home smart home setup and what type of protocol. Some of them have a little bit more lags than others, but you can see they all do go up fairly close to each other. And this is what's really cool that I like about it, is that not only can you use your voice to do that, I have my app that I can use to control it, and I can also set up things like different schedules or automation, so I can have it even attached to geofencing. All right, so with the blinds fully open, you can see that you can see the little solar panels up there. They're not too terrible. You do have to put them a little bit down from the top of the window because you want them to get sunlight still. So if you have them all at the top, they'll get shaded, from the trim and stuff outside the house. So something to keep in mind there. But otherwise, these are a very clean look I do like about them. And what I have here set up is my dashboard that's all user configurable. That's the upside and downside of Home Assistant. If you're not used to it, is that you can adjust it all for your own needs. For me, I have a tab up here for my blinds. And so I have obviously 4 blinds down here. I also have 4 more blinds upstairs in the bedrooms. And what I've done is I group them together. So you can see here, I have all my blinds. So that's for the whole house. Up and down, I could control them. Then I have my den blinds and TV blinds. So den blinds is all 4 of them. And then my TV blinds is just these 2 blackout ones in case I want to control them separately. If I want just the TV blinds to drop, I can just go in here and hit lower for the TV blinds. So that'll be this one and this one over here that will drop down. And as you can see there, they drop down. And they are very quiet. You do hear them. And I think these blinds are slightly louder than my roller shade ones that I have. But that's just because the way they go. They are pretty smooth. I don't have a lot of complaints about them. From the function standpoint or the loudness, I think is very reasonable. I do like the ending where it actually slows down so it doesn't go down and smack your window sill. It slows down the very end. And you can adjust this. You don't have to go full up and full down. You can do any increment in between. And then with something like a home assistant, you can actually schedule something where if the sunlight only hits certain places and you want to drop the blind only a certain amount, you can do that with this app and just have it set to a position that you want to command to it. So this is the setup. I've been using them for several weeks now, and I can also go in here and check my batteries. I have my batteries saved in a different tab for me. But if you look here on the bottom, this is my blinds battery, and they are all at 100% still. So all four of these have stayed at 100%. If you look at my other ones higher up, the master blinds and Lisa's blinds, those ones are lower. Those do not have solar, so they certainly do drain. Those have been plugged in for months. They're pretty slow, but if you don't have the solar, probably expect to plug them in every 6 months or so to keep the battery charged. So if you have any questions, please put them down in the comments below. I do try to answer those. And then, of course, give me the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. So thanks for watching and take care.